Okay, now we're going to put the spice rub on this brisket. We've got it all trimmed up, and we're going to put a classic Texas spice rub on there. You know, they vary, you know, everybody has their own version, but this is really a pretty classic type rub with some chili powder, garlic powder, just a little bit of brown sugar, some dry mustard, and some paprika. The basis of this is going to be salt and pepper. So, you know, heavy on the salt and pepper. Before we even start with the spice rub, we're going to season this up with some salt and pepper. Okay, so kosher salt, nice thick kosher salt. We're just going to get a nice, even shaking of this. You can see that's big flakes of kosher salt on there. And just going to break that up onto that. Okay, so you can see like all the salt that goes on there. Nice thick coating, but nice and even. Now we're going to put some cracked black pepper on there. And just go ahead and open up your pepper mill. That way you get some really nice big cracked black pepper. You know, you don't want a fine ground. You want a nice thick coarse ground. I always like to use the fresh cracked black pepper. You know, you can grind some up in a spice grinder ahead of time, but it's always best for me just to go straight out of the pepper mill and onto the meat. So this is really, most of the seasoning is just right here in the salt and pepper. Okay, we're going to flip it over, get the other side. Once again, kosher salt, nice liberal amount. I mean, this is a real thick piece of meat, so it needs a decent amount of seasoning. Once again, with that cracked black pepper, you know, straight out of the pepper mill. Nice and thick, coarse pepper. Okay. So now we're going to mix up a little spice rub. We've got some chili powder, a little paprika, some garlic powder, mustard powder, ground mustard, and a little bit of brown sugar. It's just going to make it nice and balanced. It will kind of help a little bit with the caramelization of the meat, and nice, you know, nice developed bark on the meat. We are going to add just a little bit more salt to this, just to make sure, and a little bit more pepper. So we're just going to mix all this up, and this will be just about the right amount for just one brisket. So just going to sprinkle this on here, you know, as even as possible. We're going to end up rubbing this in. Going to make a mess, that's all there is to it. So once you get about half of it on there, flip it over to the other side and finish up on this other side with the rest of this rub. Nice and even. Okay, at this point, we're going to actually, you know, just kind of push this into the meat, sort of rub it into the meat, you know, more than rub, just kind of push it in there, massage it in there. Everything that falls off, just kind of do a little bit on the sides here too. Rub it into the bottom. Just push it all in there. Anything left on the tray, just get it in there too. Pack it into these crevices. Anything that doesn't look like it's completely coated, try to pack it all on there. Okay, so we've got it all packed in there. There's really nothing left on the tray. I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to let this set while we get our fire going. So it's okay to let it set for about 45 minutes. I like to have my brisket kind of come up to room temperature. It's going to have a nice, real even cooking. So just let it set there, let those spices start to work on the meat and soak into the meat, and then we're going to get our fire going and throw this on the smoker.